Welcome back to that Heartbreak Hogs podcast. We just finished a segment going over the Ole Miss, our reaction to that game. Sid was there, he saw it all. We're going to get into a little bit more of a deep dive of what's going on with Sam Pittman, scenarios that may play out by the end of this year, the expectation of this program. But before we do, if you're new here, please considering liking this video, subscribing to our channel. We are an independent channel. We have full-time jobs outside of this. We do work hard to put content out there. We're diehard Razorback fans. We love our Hogs. We're not here to be negative about them. We're here to talk Razorback sports, and we want them to win. So if you want your Hogs to win too, but aren't afraid to speak the truth about what's going on, this is the podcast for you. Please consider commenting down below some of your thoughts as well. And with that being said, let's dive into it, Sid. You were at the game, and for me, I don't live in Arkansas. I live in Austin, Texas, surrounded by Texas fans. Yay. For me, I really wanted to go to this game. Our next game is against Texas in 2 weeks. We're recording this on Election Tuesday. So it's a big day today. Hopefully we'll get it posted tomorrow or sometime this week. But Election Tuesday, we're recording this, and I really wanted to go to this Arkansas-Texas game. And I wanted to travel up there. I wanted to see you. I wanted to see some other people there. And I really wanted to see this game. I've been jawing back and forth with Texas fans this whole year. And after Tennessee, that win, it seemed like that it was a possibility that we had a shot against Texas. And after Ole Miss just demoralized us, I haven't heard any smack talk from Texas fans because they feel bad for me. And it sucks, man. It really does. It sucks just watching that, and it seems like our athletic department's okay with this. That this is just okay to call our team a blue light special team and to basically call them cheap and basically the made in China squad, you know? What are your takes on just you're a season ticket holder, man? Was it worth it? Was does this make you want to go and buy more tickets? Because it doesn't make me want to travel up there and watch these games. Let's just kind of start
Yeah,
here, and we'll kind of move on from topic to topic just related to this situation. But I feel like this needs to be addressed. Like
yeah,
people are paying money for this. These tickets are not cheap. And you were saying in the last video, and you're probably going to go over this some more. The dunking, the Ole Miss pestering the crowd. Kind of go over like what your thoughts of the atmosphere and just everything that's been going on as a ticket holder for this these home atmospheres outside of Tennessee.
yeah. I mean, I'll start off with like the whole having tickets, season tickets. Last year, I had this is through alumni tickets as well. So we have great seats, row four, um, like lower section, right near the end zone. Um, Last year, I had two tickets. You saw how last year went for us.
Yeah,
Um,
rough.
Absolutely terrible, very rough. I
You didn't want
couldn't
to buy tickets again. You
I
didn't want
couldn't
to.
pay someone to like take my tickets last year
Yeah.
for certain games. I tried selling them, couldn't sell
Tried
them
offering
for
$10, $20
yeah.
bucks. Do you want? I'll pay you
No,
$20 to take the
exactly. No one wanted to go, and me. I saw Bobby Petrino come this year. I was like, and kind of this program. I'm
Yeah.
like, and saw the schedule and better schedule than it was last year. So I was like, okay, you
Right.
know what? Let me buy it again this year. Let's see how it goes this year. I bought one. I had my other friend buy the one, but you know, it's getting to the point where I'm also now people like cannot sell these tickets even if I wanted to. I go into the game. I don't know if I want to go to the game because yes, was it great going to the Tennessee game and rushing the field? Absolutely. Was it a fluke? Maybe. Now that we've passed Ole Miss, now that I've been
Yeah.
to the LSU game, got destroyed. Been to the obviously the Ole Miss game last week, got
Even worse
destroyed.
destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, got Texas coming up. I mean,
Are you going to the
yeah,
Texas
no,
game?
I don't know. It's the same thing as Ole Miss. No one wants to buy these tickets. We'll see how it goes, but um,
Oh, so you,
shouldn't be.
you have your tickets on the market and you're saying nobody
Yeah,
wants to buy them.
exactly right. That's the case right
Have you
now.
offered them 10 or 20 bucks to pay them to take the ticket? Just
That's
kidding.
absurd, right? Because these tickets should be selling for very, very expensive, and like
Yeah.
as fans, we should want to go to the games, no matter like you bought season tickets. I want to go to the game. I want to be at the game. I want to know that we have a chance to win this game.
Right.
But right now, like just having been what the season is so far, um, I have no motivation to go, honestly. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of fans are in my boat right now. And do we want to go see this loss? I mean, and just get us destroyed. Like it's hard saying that as like a true Razorback fan. You want to stick out through the losses, through the wins, but it's just spending your entire day to go see your team
Mm.
get blown out, get wrecked, and the other team just making fun of you. Well, because I'm on the away side as well. The other team just kind of like rubbing it in your face while we
Right.
see our team moping around, kind of taking it, and we see our coach calling out our offensive linemen
Yep.
for being trash and
Cheap.
being cheap. Um, this like
The
discourages fans from
affordable
going.
offensive line. The affordable
Exactly.
one.
This just discourages the fans from going to discourages fans. Since this is a Pittman video, like I'm just gonna talk about in
Yeah.
sense of him. That discourages fans from coming to see the Razorbacks. That discourages your players from playing for you. It
Right.
discourages a lot of um kind of like the thrill you should have for seeing the Hogs, the kind of enthusiasm you should have for seeing the Hogs on a Saturday on a college SEC, especially when it's a SEC conference play atmosphere.
Right.
You should want to go to that game, and you should want to knowing that you have a chance to win this game. But right now, it's just like Pittman hasn't done that, and is only making matters worse as the season goes on. We've got 3 games left, 2 home games left, and yeah, it's kind of on a downhill train right now.
Mhm. Yeah, man, it's tough to watch and it's just like why? I was pulling up the total wins that Pittman has in the SEC from 2020 when he was hired to this season. He is 14 and 26. That doesn't mean 14 out of 26. This is 14 and 26. 14 wins and 26 losses. That is a point
Yeah, I
in
saw that
conference play.
the only one worse than him was the Vandy coach, and
Yeah.
and then it's us.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, yeah, from Hog Wild. Are you
I
talking
think
about
so.
from
Well, I just saw that
his
we were
chart?
second to last. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, Not great. I mean he's we've said this all season where we
Yep.
are rooting for him to do well. We're not looking for his to fire him by any chance or
Exactly.
for the organization to get him fired, but
No.
we're wanting him to help his case, which he is not doing.
Right.
And it
Yeah,
gets
we are
more
not
and more
rooting for losses. We are not doing any of that. We want this team to win. We're
because
skeptical of this team of winning, though.
yeah, I will. So I was not sure about bringing this up or not, but like after that whole offensive lineman and calling them cheap and whatnot,
Yeah.
um, about the 2 tight ends that got let go, kind
Yep.
of got off the team as well. And as that came out, and I saw that on the podcast as well on 4th and 5, but
Yeah.
as that came out about the reasoning for it, and not that, and I mean, I think that video explained it pretty well. Like as a player, he shouldn't have done that. Where he shouldn't have kind of said, "I'm not playing,"
Right.
because that's what he's
Saying no
like
to the
being put
coaching staff when they,
exactly.
yeah.
But I think to not hear him out and kind of, again, we don't know the full story. This is a he said she said kind of almost in that
Right.
aspect. But if that is true and that is accurate, um, then I don't think that I think further hurts his case, because other players again were watching to see how this this was affected. Like every other player on our team knew that this went on and knew how our coaches handled it. It
Right.
doesn't sound like it was handled well.
No.
Um, and so in that sense, that's
It's
another
just
thing.
another thing.
That's another thing
Exactly.
that is kind of on top of our players' minds, and um, not wanting to play for Coach Pittman.
Right. And yeah, I didn't really know if I wanted to talk about this either, like you and bringing this up, but
Mm-hmm.
I was curious whenever I had sent that to you, and we had texted back and forth and going like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" My initial reaction was like, "What?" Like they ignored a guy who asked for help, like he had a mental health like crisis, if you will, like a
Mm-hmm.
situation, and he was asking for help potentially. I
Right.
according to his side, that he was asking the coaching staff in different ways for help, and they ignored him. Um, that is a huge red flag. The University of Arkansas should be responsible for taking care of its student athletes, especially that if they have a mental health crisis or a mental health situation, you should not be ignoring that. And if you're ignoring that, these coaches are supposed to be leaders for these men and mentors. And if they are ignoring cries for help from the players as mentors, as leaders, that is a huge red flag for this program, and it is
Right.
very embarrassing. That is
Right.
just embarrassing to me.
And
If
on
this
top
is
of
true.
that, I think also for this organization to kind of let them go without, and then not tell the fans that are like obviously big fans of this organization, not tell them what actually happened, what like anything around it, kind of
Right.
letting people around um, the college football like atmosphere kind of speculate on what this player might have done to get him like kicked off the team.
Yeah.
Oh, they could have done like so and so drugs or whatever. Like and kind of, I don't know, I just for the organization, kind of letting players, I mean not players, fans speculate, um, is I think bad on its own as well.
Yeah.
Um, and so I just
Yeah, I
think,
wonder if there's any conversations like, is the AD, is
yeah.
Hunter looking into this? Is anybody in the university looking into, like, just a statement that say, "Hey, we're going to look into this and make sure that he was provided with any help he requested."
Right.
And to my knowledge, there has not been any statement about that we even care to look into this.
Or even a statement that like, oh, that wasn't factual, that was factual, like
Exactly, or that there's
nothing
some sort of
regarding it.
investigation that like
Right.
that, hey, this kind of, if this is true, we do not want to be responsible for this. Like, this is not what we are about, and we are going to fix this. Just nothing. And like I'm not saying it's true, but if it is, that is a huge red flag. And it's again, I just feel like it's embarrassing that our university would ignore that, and that we would
Yeah.
continue to pay and cover up possibly any type of just, you get what I'm saying. I just think that
No, I completely get it. Like it's
it's a
just
little concerning.
it's
And
kind of
then
it's
for
very
him,
concerning.
a couple days later, to call his team a blue light special in the NIL, that he's buying cheap guys with our low NIL income.
Yeah,
And
and you
I don't feel like I'm taking this out of context. Like
yeah.
we all saw this, and that's all we're all taking it. He straight up called his guys cheap. Like, anyway,
No,
man,
it's very, I mean, exactly, and it's just not helping his case. And when I think towards the end of the season, when it comes down to it, all these things are going to add up. Even if he's 6-6 or
yeah.
7, if he wins 2 games, if he beats Mizzou and Louisiana
And
Tech,
we're gonna get to that next. We're gonna get into
um,
the positive scenarios next of what could
but
happen. But yeah,
even if he wins right now, like I just think like these things have built a case against him,
yeah,
and it's too strong of a case to keep him almost. And I mean, 8-4, like winning out the 3 games, can he help his case? Sure, but I think there right now the negatives are completely outweighing the positives of his future here.
yeah, yeah.
And I don't know what
I
if you
agree.
agree with that or not, but that's just what I'm seeing. After, I mean, early in the season and towards even the midseason, I was like, okay, let's see how this plays out. I think
Yeah,
he deserves a chance. He deserves a shot. We are too early to kind of speak on ill of him
right.
at this point in the season. Like it's his kind of job to lose. We want it to be in his hands.
Right.
Right now, he's just taking it out of his hands more and more. And as an athletic director, I think his hands are going to be tied as
Yeah.
well when the season comes down to it at the end of this season.
Yeah.
I don't know what your
And
take is, but yeah.
for anybody that is still watching at this point, I do want to reiterate that neither Sid or I are wanting us to lose. We do not want Pittman to lose. We do not want the Razorbacks to lose. If it means that winning out is going to keep Pittman here, we're still going to choose winning out. We want winning out over letting Sam Pittman go or anything. If he wins out, I think he deserves to come back. If you can beat Texas, if you can then beat Louisiana Tech, not saying much, and then close out with a win over Mizzou, that might be enough to be like, you know what? We got our stuff together and we made some changes. Sure. Maybe not. We'll just kind of have to see whenever we get there. But at the
Yeah.
end of the day, we do want victories. What I'm trying to get at is that we're not going to be rooting for Arkansas to lose, and we're never going to get to that point just for the outcome of a coaching situation. So I
Right.
just wanted to like make that very clear before anybody goes into the comment section. Go like, these anti-Sam haters. No, we're just putting it out there. We're presenting it, and we're trying to let you make that decision. I will say, for me personally, just like, if it were up to me, because I'm going to put this out there. I live in Austin, Texas. I'm surrounded by Texas Longhorn fans. These Texas Longhorn fans expected to go undefeated this year. Every single game, they did not look at it as a threat. Their expectation was win, 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 win. Even after Georgia beat the hell out of them, they still think they're going undefeated and that A&M is no type of threat to them. That they just think that nobody's a threat to them still. Whereas Hog fans, oh, we've got 4 games left. Let's just win 2 of them. What the heck are we doing here? When is it okay to lose a game? Like, when is it okay to say, oh, best case scenario is we win 2 out of the 4 remaining or whatever, just as a hypothetical situation. The acceptance for mediocrity and losing here and moral victories is getting ridiculous. We have to change that, man.
I agree we have to change it, but I think it's coming from these bad losses where we are experiencing us just getting our butts
this is
over
year
and over.
5.
Exactly, right? Yes, as Razorback fans, we're wanting to win every single game. Yeah. But there's a bit difference between wanting and having our expectations because of the fact that we've seen this happen so many times where
right.
And just watching it live, it's just like just draining, and it's not like, oh, we can beat anyone out there. No, anyone can beat us out is more of a commonality right now than us beating them.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's a let's see what we can win. I'm not saying that should be the case at all, and I don't think you are either. But
I'm going to put this out there too. A&M, it's Sam Pittman would last 2 years at A&M. He would be on the hot, okay, maybe about 3 years at A&M. He would be on the hot seat by year 3, or at the end of year 3, like 3.5 years. He would get halfway through that 4-8 season and he would have been gone. Jimbo had a winning record that season. I think he was at bowl eligibility with games to go when they fired him. We've got to figure out here, what is the expectation? Is it 6 wins? Is it 7 wins? Or is it college football playoff? What is the expectation here at Arkansas? What was it? 14-26 is not acceptable in conference play. It's not acceptable. I like Sam. I want him to win. Like I've said many times, I'm not rooting for him to lose, but man, how many more losses until that we're just like, we're not Vanderbilt. And congrats to Vanderbilt this year for turning it around. It's great, but I'm talking about historical Vanderbilt. It's been Vanderbilt and everybody else in the SEC. Like, Vandy is like the, like you don't want to be there, of you're just never going to compete or whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's just, I feel like that we're the next Vanderbilt of the SEC right now. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying that's how it feels right now. And another point that I want to make is, how good your head coach is if you can go around to other fan bases at different levels and ask them, would you want Sam Pittman as your head coach? If you lost your head coach today and Sam Pittman was one of the options, would you riot and be upset? Would you be or would you be like ecstatic? And most people give me the hell no. I have not met a fan base that would be okay with wanting Sam Pittman as their head coach. And I'm not trying to diss him. I'm just putting that perspective out there we are not a program. Yeah, we're just not a program.
Louisiana Tech might say,
Yeah, Louisiana Tech, sure. But like, what does that say about us? So I just kind of want to put that out there of, as Razorback fans, man, we've got to figure out, what are we a college football program? In basketball, we're having 5-stars visit us every other weekend or put us on their list in basketball. Cal's going across the country advertising and getting, all this national attention, and NIL money is flooding to him for it. It's oranges and apples, basketball and football, but I'm talking about promoter-wise. Coach Cal knows how to promote. He knows how to get people to buy into his product. I don't see Pittman going around saying, hey, we're going to do this,
Yeah.
this, and this for NIL. I don't see him out there campaigning, if you will. Coach Cal is
Yeah.
campaigning,
It
and
is it is a bit different,
it's
but
a
and it's
different
also
campaign.
it's also Coach Cal's first year, and we haven't started the year.
Right.
I get he's already looking at the future and going
But he's
on,
a marketer.
but it's a year one starting off without
Right.
having I guess won any games yet versus year 5 and having gone mediocre and recruiting on talent. Um,
Right.
One is going off of his name, his record, and like
His image and
his
his
past
likeness.
history. Exactly.
See what I
Versus the
did there?
other one, yeah. What versus like Pittman is not because he's again year 5 and
Right.
it's just
And how are you
it's
supposed to
different.
raise NIL with Pittman right now? What about Pittman's record? Can he sit there and say, yeah, guys, we're 14 and 26 in the SEC. Give me more NIL money and we'll bring 5 stars here and we'll be, 28 and 26 by, the next couple seasons, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and that's the thing. Coach Cal can say, look at my NBA players. That's what he's using to promote NIL. And that's the thing that
Right.
people don't get here is that it is Pittman's fault that we don't have NIL
It
because he's
is
not winning.
changing. It's also exactly that's a key word. He's not winning, and
If you
that
win,
changes everything.
it changes
With
everything.
the NIL nowadays, that is
Yep.
the key word. If Coach Cal lost at every game this season, you think
Yep.
people because
The
he
NIL will
put
change next year. It will
yeah, you
change.
think just because he put NBA players, it's not going to change.
Yep. If they start
No,
losing, that fund will change. We will no longer be the
exactly.
number one
And so
NIL fund.
nowadays for head coaches, that's a factor, right?
Yep.
If you're not winning games, you have which you've said before, you have less of a long-term contract nowadays because if you cannot win short
Mm-hmm.
term, your NIL fund is the big
Yep.
key impact that continues to go down, and
Yep.
it's not going to go back up because we might change it around, you might not. It's only going to go back up if you're winning and
Right.
you can keep that image
Tennessee.
and likeness, like you said, up.
Yep.
um
And
if you
Tennessee
can't do
was a
that,
big opportunity for
and
that.
yeah, I get that exactly, and we talked about it not being a fluke game. Now tell me it wasn't a fluke game. You can't.
Only if we beat Mizzou. If we beat
Yeah.
Mizzou, it wasn't a fluke.
You mean Texas?
Both of them. One of them. And that, like, if you beat one of them, you could make the slight argument that it
I
wasn't a fluke.
I don't know
But
about Mizzou, again, but I've been on
well,
that for the whole season.
hell, man, if we beat
Um,
Mizzou for the first time in Columbia, I'm taking that.
that's
um.
fair.
So
That's fair.
yeah,
But yeah, I just think that we'll see if Mizzou's even ranked by that time.
that's true.
Um,
Yeah.
but outside of that, let's second to yeah, just a long term contract, 5 years now, and it's been mediocre. It's not
Yeah.
like his um his NIL fund's going to go up magically because from what? Why?
Exactly. Like, how do you campaign with that? And he's not campaigning. He's complaining.
Yeah.
See what I did there? He's not campaigning. He's complaining. You know?
Right.
And that's got to stop. Here's the thing. There is a solution to every problem. There are doers, and then there are people that just they're acceptors. And you cannot just be I wouldn't say that this is an accepting type of situation, but there doesn't seem to be enough push to evolve with the system that's going on, like with the NIL system. There's only resistance. We are resisting it instead of evolving with it, and it is really hurting our programs. Basketball, they're getting it together. They're figuring it out. Football is very behind. And
Yeah.
the poorest states are Mississippi and Fortunately, Arkansas is right there next to them. But Mississippi, I'm pretty sure, is number one, if not like number two or three. Why the heck do they have such a good NIL fund and you're getting these great players with their resources? They don't have Walmart money. They don't have Tyson Chicken money. JB Hunt is right over here too.
Wins matter.
Mm-hmm.
Wins
And
matter,
in the
and
campaigners, the people that are going out there campaigning, they want to do this. They're figuring out ways to get their students to pay. I'm going to be transparent. I do donate to our NIL program, and
mhm.
it's not a whole lot, but I do donate to it. Even through this losing, I'm still doing it. But I'm going to tell you this, I would be donating twice as whatever I'm donating now, and I'm sure a lot of other people would be too if we were winning every weekend. I would be donating more. In fact, I may be working overtime just to put that overtime into it to get a natty. I'm just saying, my full-time job, I may be putting in a bunch of natty, what I'd call natty hours, you know, so that I could donate to it. I'm just being honest, and I think a lot of people would feel that way and be more
Yeah,
open
instead
to
of
it.
putting in those hours for a 5-4 or like will we make a bowl game? Let's make
Yeah,
a bowl game.
what's that? You know, and I almost so I did the selection of just the general fund where it goes to all the sports. I almost did football. I almost did. I almost did even a separate one for basketball, and
hmm
just to invest in those two because I was so excited. But then I was like, I'm gonna send it to both of them just because I'm just not inspired enough to invest in
Yeah,
this football,
yeah,
and spend the
no,
time
I
to
get it.
travel up there. But I think we have kind of hit a lot of this enough. I do want to let's try to finish this on somewhat of a positive note by what are scenarios that could turn this around for Sam Pittman? Obviously a win against Texas, winning out 3-0, finishing the year, that would be 8-5 or 8-4, my bad,
hmm
before a bowl game. I think that, you could really rally the troops around that. Um, I'm going to ask you this scenario too. What if they go 7-5, ending with a win versus Mizzou? Short term memory, you finish with a win. You finish in Columbia. Would that be enough to turn the fan? And before you answer, I want to put one more thing out there. I'm just going to throw, that scenario for you to answer first is like, is 7-5 enough? But I'm going to put a little prediction here, and I'm going to give credit where I'm going to give credit to John Neighbors on this for anybody that watches John Neighbors' show because I will say he probably did influence this thought of mine. I do kind of agree with him in that I do think that this is Pittman's last year regardless. I just kind of have a feeling of the people that I follow, the podcasts I follow that are, connected to the university, their sources and all that is I do have a feeling that this is probably Pittman's last year regardless. I just don't think that I think he doesn't want to deal with the NIL and that talk about what's been going on with the tight ends, the stuff that he said mic'd up about the NIL. I don't think he wants to deal with it. I don't think he wants to learn it. He doesn't want to figure it out. I do think that I personally am guessing that this is probably going to be his last year. I'm not hoping for that. I'm not predicting, like, I'm not, rooting for any of that. I'm just putting that out there. Me personally, I do think that, and I do think that the University of Arkansas, Hunter Yurachek, and the board, I think they have a plan in place for when the end of the season comes. But before, Sid, I kind of wanted to hear just your part of if we're just going to assume first that Sam Pittman is playing to, or is he's trying to prove to get here another year. Assuming that part, and then answer what your personal thoughts are. Is 7-5 enough to convince you to want him to run it back again next year with the coaching staff? Um, or does he need to go? Does he need to get to 8 for you?
At the start of the season, I said 7-5, and towards early on in the season, I said 7-5
Yep.
was good enough for him to be coming back as the Hogs coach after last year.
Right.
Just good enough. I think right now, at this point, I'm taking back that because of, again, what I mentioned earlier. the negatives outweighing the positives, and in all the things going on outside of football with him, um, him kind of bashing on the O lineman, him
Yeah.
with everything with the tight ends, the NIL fund, all those things are the negatives, right? So the 7 game and improvement from last year isn't enough. Those
Mm-hmm.
positives are just not enough to outweigh those negatives in our future as a Razorback football program. So
Mm.
right now, I think I'm hoping everyone agrees with this, but in my eyes, I think that's not enough.
Yeah.
7-5, with just what has happened at this point in time,
Yeah.
and us predicting that yes, we win 2 more games. At this point in time, everything that's happened, I can clearly say it's not enough with everything that I just mentioned.
Okay. So you don't think that it'll be feeling good enough to win at Columbia for the first time in forever? I don't know if they've ever won there.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't think that that would be enough of just finishing it off with a win to build some sort of momentum to be like, hey, we got to 7-5. We beat Missouri for the first time at Mizzou. We can turn this thing around. We did not quit completely on the season and lose our last 4 games or 3 of our last 4 because you're going to beat Louisiana Tech. Let's just be honest here. Now, if that doesn't happen, if you lose to Louisiana Tech, that's a whole different. Oh boy, ooh. I
Yeah.
don't know if you should be at the Missouri game if you lose to Louisiana Tech, but let's just assume that he does. Let's not get there.
Yeah.
But you still don't think that that's enough.
Yeah, again, I'm not playing the what if scenario right now. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, in a sense, like not what if, but we win 7 games. Yes, we win 2 more games.
Mm-hmm.
The negatives are not, no, they're not
Even finishing
outweighing. I
2-0 at
don't
the end of the
care.
season.
At the start, again, at the start of the season,
Yeah.
I predicted us beating Mizzou to end this game, and then seven
Mm-hmm.
and five, and that being good enough to keep the job. We're on track to do that. Right now, the negatives that I mentioned,
Yeah.
the NIL, him talking bad about players, him kind of sweeping stuff under the rug, him not taking accountability post interviews, um, kind of just the troops I don't think that we have right now are rallied behind him. And I
Okay.
think the people that are coming to Arkansas for future prospects aren't rallied behind him. And that's what is that short term memory for me is not going to come into effect. I know for a lot of Razorback fans, it comes into effect week after Mississippi State. It was, yes, we're the best team in the world.
Yeah.
But no, even if we win right now against Mizzou, again, not a what if, not let's say he says he acknowledges everything that has happened. He kind of shakes it around. He kind of rallies the troops after we beat Texas,
Yeah.
and something like that happens, and he kind of goes on a run of that he wants to be here. Just it's a no for me right now with the 7-5, even with the Mizzou win.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm honestly I'm on the same page. Um I, I feel like though if that actually does happen, we may get sucked into it. Finishing 2-0 at the end of the year, finishing it off strong.
Again,
Um
accountability and the
yeah.
NIL, like it cannot be the reason why you're not able to coach up your
I agree.
team. Um,
Yeah.
as a head coach in
Right.
this conference, like um, if those things aren't there, you're not
Right. Well,
good enough
yeah.
to be the head coach.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's going to eh, most likely lead to this scenario not even happening.
Right.
Yeah, it like I don't think that this scenario actually happening is very unlikely. because of that, because of the lack of accountability, and because of the blame game, and the stuff, that the drama going on around the
Yeah.
program. Um, so did you have any takes on whether you think that he's just done regardless, going to retire? Is there been anything, or because you live around the area, you live around Rogers and
Hmm.
Fayetteville, um, have you? I don't know how connected you are still to directly to the university, but have you been hearing rumblings, or anybody that you know kind of just going like, hey, there is something to this whole he's probably just going to retire at the end of the year. Do you kind of have any takes on
Yeah,
that?
honestly, no, and I don't want to speculate on his retirement or his health, um, for that being the reason, because
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't know, I haven't been hearing it, so I'm not going to speculate on it. But
Right.
I'm just speaking on what has happened, what he's done, and what I'm seeing from him. Um, these post interviews and then just like on the field and whatnot.
Yeah.
Because I have gone to a few games this season, um, and so that's the only thing I can actually speak on, not his retirement or whatnot. But it seems like, if I was going to speculate, it seems like, yeah, that passion is going away, and I don't know if he wants to be here. Honestly, I thought he did, um, but I don't know what his, I can't. I don't want to speak to what his mindset going into this season is, or I mean postseason is.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
get it.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, but yeah, that I don't have any inside knowledge or anything like that. That was just kind of a feeling I have, but and I'm not rooting for
yeah.
that to happen or anything. I want to make that very clear. It's just kind of
No,
a
we've
feeling I
said
have.
we wanted it to be his decision, like
Right.
it's in his hands. But
Hmm.
right now, he's kind of starting to throw it away, and maybe that leads us to think that he does want to kind of retire, but not go out on top. It's just kind of leave.
Right.
That's the only reason why I'd be speculating. Outside of that, I can't speak to what hasn't happened or what he's thinking, because I'm not in his head.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. I get what you're saying. Um, I think that's kind of got to that'll probably do it. I think that we've kind of hit on everything that's been going on. Can you think of anything else, that any topics we may have missed related to Pittman scenarios, just things going on related to the program and what directions it's heading?
Yeah, if I would say if I was Hunter Yurachek, I would kind of start to like, again, we he might keep Pittman, but I think I would also start to kind of get some prospects in mind, kind of start looking as well,
Yeah.
just to have that option to. Because honestly, if we get someone worse than Pittman at the end, like,
Who can't win
'cause
an SEC game at all?
yeah, yeah,
Chad.
like exactly, like let's get Chad Morris back.
Oh my god.
Pittman's retiring. Like I want there to be options at the
They
end,
may as well
whether
just burn the
and
football stadium down if that were
exactly, like
just be like, we don't do that anymore.
like, all right, if that's an option, then I want Pittman.
Yeah, football.
But
We
like,
haven't done that in years.
so
No, I'm just kidding.
I
I'm
want Hunter
kidding.
Yurchek to kind of. I mean, I'm sure he already is. I hope he
Yeah.
is, but like, kind of starting to look and so weighing out options to see if Pittman truly is the best candidate for the job at the end, when we
Yeah.
have when he has certain aspects in mind. Because right now, it's in my mind he is, because we don't have anyone. We're just speculating on who we could get. But
Right.
if he, I mean, we're not the AD as well, but if he had a list and then he was able to compare, can these guys, can we get a coach like like we did with basketball, Calipari, and that person can turn our program around quickly,
Yeah.
get NIL funds, and quickly kind of change how
Right.
Razorbacks think? Or can we kind of rally around? Can I get the Razorback Nation to rally around Pittman for another year?
Mhm.
What's the benefit? What's the outweigh? Like
Yeah.
what kind of like weigh that option? And I think he should start now, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. You better get that list going and be checking it twice. No, just kidding. But we'll see what happens. And never say never. This could get turned around. The likelihood of that is kind of slim, but it is possible, and we'll see. It could start with a win versus Texas. The turnaround could start with that. We'll
Yeah.
just have to wait and see. I'll be watching from my TV. I will be here in Austin, Texas, on the couch. I'll be cheering for him, rooting for him, but I'm just not gonna travel up there to
I may or
risk.
may not be at the game. If you're looking for 2 tickets to the Texas game, let me know.
Comment down below if you need
Comment
tickets.
down.
Yeah. With that being said, I think we're gonna head out of here. It's been about 45 minutes. If you've gotten this far, please like the video. Comment down below your thoughts about this whole situation. Comment about tickets. Anything, thoughts, and we are Razorback fans through and through. We love these Hogs, and we love talking about them, and we just want them to be competitive. We want them to compete at a college football playoff level, and we're just trying to figure out how to get there, So till then, we're going to head on to the next segment. We'll see you guys in the next video.